Hey, welcome to today's little conversation. Do you got a backpack full of rocks? Have you ever hiked with a heavy backpack? I don't know if I have or not, and I know that sounds funny, but when I did hike, I was a Boy Scout and I was, ages 12 to 14, 15, that time, and I hiked with backpacks that I thought were heavy at the time, and I don't know if they actually were by other standards or not. But I want you to picture something. Imagine that you're hiking with a backpack and you aren't you didn't look in it, you didn't pack it, right? And you're supposed to carry this backpack, right? And after a while, it gets to be really heavy, and so you wonder if is there anything I can take out? And so you set it down and you open the backpack and you find in it it's full of rocks. And you pick out the rocks, you start pulling the rocks out of the backpack, and you see each rock's got a name on it. And one rock is named resentment. And one rock is named guilt. And one rock says old judgment. And one rock says shame. And one rock says bitterness. You get the idea. Are you carrying any of those rocks in your backpack? At first, they might feel like protection to you. Maybe they also feel like evidence or responsibility or some justice or proof that an injury mattered. Now, with those names, I'm talking metaphorically, but here's the truth. If you're carrying a backpack full of rocks, eventually they're going to keep you from climbing. Because when you're trying to climb, those rocks, it feels like they double in weight. And, yesterday we talked about forgiveness in general and covered a lot of things and carrying a lot of things that you don't need to carry anymore. But specifically, I want to talk today about what those rocks do to you or me or any of us if we carry them around. Now, if I was carrying that backpack full of rocks, first thing I'd do is just, pick it up upside down and dump it out. See if there was anything under the rocks that I really needed to keep, right? And by dumping rocks, it's not about denying something that happened, and it's not about abandoning wisdom. But the goal is to no longer use your life force, that precious energy that you have, to transport yesterday's wreckage into every day that you enter. I have a client, it's not a current client, but a client some years ago, and he said, people sometimes keep visiting things in the past that were negative. And he said, one opinion is to just take the trash out to the curb and leave it there. And obviously, I'm not talking about geological rocks, and I'm not launching a mineral podcast. Although, at this point, somebody probably has one about minerals that have got 1 million subscribers and a paid app called Sedimental Journey. Ooh, that's funny. All right. I mean the rocks that we carry. I gave some of the names: resentment, shame, guilt, bitterness, judgment, argument, betrayal. The old emotional court cases that have remained in session long after everybody else has left the building. We carry them in a backpack we can't see. And it reminds me of that old movie, Scrooge. It's been made 5, 6, 7 times with all kinds of different actors. My favorite's George C. Scott. But anyway, in all of them, Jacob Marley, the ghost, he shows up with chains, right? And he says, Scrooge, you're carrying around these chains that were this big 7 years ago, and you've labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain. And, Scrooge looks around. I don't see any chains. And, Marley says, mine were invisible till I'm dead. And we're not talking about dying here. At first, rocks might feel useful. One rock may remind us we were hurt, or one rock might remind us that we made a mistake. One rock reminds us to stay away from somebody. One rock might keep anger right available in case the past suddenly returns and, requests another fight. One rock might preserve the official record so no one can accuse us of forgetting what happened. Well, with all those rocks, then we start wondering why climbing is difficult. And by climbing, I mean we ask why joy is harder to access, or why the body remains tense, or why new relationships feel suspicious, or why your creativity maybe has gone flat, or why service feels heavy and resentful, or why every new opportunity somehow gets reviewed by the committee of old pain. Maybe it's because we're trying to climb the mountain carrying a quarry. Now, the rocks, I get it. They began with a purpose, and I'm not trying to pretend they didn't. Most of the rocks didn't begin as some kind of stupidity. Anger may have helped you recognize a violated boundary, or guilt may have told you that your behavior contradicted your values. Caution may have protected you after a betrayal. Withdrawal may have given you time to survive something overwhelming. Honor that. I'm not talking about that. Protective response might be intelligent, or will be intelligent when danger is present, but the problem is gone. And if it isn't, then the immediate action is get out of the problem. I understand that. What I'm talking about is rocks that we carry way past their usefulness. The situation's gone, the person's gone, the relationship's over, etc. But the protection remains on sort of permanent, active duty status.